This trash came from the Russian capital, Moscow. It's too much for the city to handle on its own, so it's transported to smaller neighboring cities, including Kolomna, which is a 2-hour drive from Moscow. Irina doesn't want it dumped in her city. She and other residents are fighting for their local environment, but the garbage trucks just keep coming. They come from sunrise to sunset, even during the night. Since last fall, around 300 trucks a day have brought toxic garbage to Kolomna, a city around 100 kilometers from Moscow. There are chunks of tar, batteries, canisters, and car tires just lying around. Up to 6,000 tons of unsorted trash arrive each day. The residents are alarmed and they're afraid the trash will swamp their city. Together with her friends, Irina founded a citizen-run initiative to oppose the trash dumps.
Many of the trucks drive through here, often with trailers. They're not always covered, so the trash goes flying around the area. The trucks are actually obligated to clean their tyres as soon as they leave the trash dumps. But there isn't even equipment for that here. The laws are often broken. We're trying to figure out how to deal with it.
Just a kilometer away is Semyonovsky. The village is 300 years old. Many families came here from the neighboring city of Kolomna because of the nature, peace and quiet, and affordability. Irina's friend Yulia Kashirkina moved here last fall with her husband and 3-year-old child. They borrowed money and got into debt renovating their house. Shortly after they moved in, came the decision to expand the nearby landfill. The air began to smell, and that was in winter. What would it be like in summer?
I'm putting off the decision about what to do. It feels like the winter's never gone by so quickly. Usually I complain, but now I'm glad it's cold. The longer it lasts, the more time I have to make a decision.
News has spread that Irina is visiting. She's one of the few environmental activists who openly protest the landfill expansion. She listens to the residents and explains their rights.
Yesterday evening, there were 2 trucks there with trash, and more will be brought at night as well.
Residents fear toxic substances like chrome, arsenic or lead could drain into the groundwater that they end up drinking.
We already went to the local prosecution. What will become of us in a year? The groundwater will get more contaminated. Who should we turn to? We're demanding new places to live where the water is clean. Why don't they move here? It's double standards. There are signs everywhere saying no smoking, but apparently the stench of landfill is good for us. We can only do something about this if all the residents stand together.
The citizens feel abandoned by the political system. They want to do something about it, so they collect signatures and organize demonstrations. The government promises there will be a waste processing plant by 2019, but residents don't think the situation will improve. They meet in secret. Some don't want to be recognized for fear of losing their jobs working for government organizations in the city. Dmitry Solomevich and Irina were both at the meeting. They're also afraid of retaliation. But they aren't willing to accept Moscow simply dumping their trash problem on them.
A lot of people are afraid to speak out. They say their opinions at home in the kitchen when only their wives are listening. But we have to be engaged, otherwise they won't listen to us. How will they know if we don't speak openly?
It's a tricky situation. Though they know there might be repercussions, they want to fight the poisoning of the environment and the threat it poses to their families.
We're not heroes, we're parents. We're fighting so that our children can have a clean place to live. We're fighting for the rights of our families, for the residents of Kolomna. We just want to live in our beautiful city and not worry anymore about how we'll live in spring. We're all afraid.
Dmitry drives Irina home through the historic city centre. They pass Orthodox churches and monasteries, museums and cafes. Today, with its 140,000 residents, Kolomna is one of the most popular tourist destinations in central Russia. Moscow residents in particular enjoy taking day trips here, unaware that a huge portion of Moscow's trash also ends up here. Irina's family lives in a two-room apartment in a prefab apartment building. She's had less time for her family in recent weeks because of her work fighting the landfill expansion. Her mother helps out by taking care of the kids.
Everything I'm doing is for my family, especially my daughter. We bought this apartment for the view of the field and the clean air. Now they're trying to take that away from us.
Irina fears that the landfill will expand quickly because it's cheaper for Moscow to dispose of its trash here rather than separating it. What about the political situation? The city administration is a 10-minute drive away, but the residents don't vote for their mayor themselves. In 2016, the governor in Moscow appointed the administrator of the city.
The issue of trash disposal is being highly politicized by a certain group. The one that invited you here today, I presume. Their goal is to negatively influence people's attitudes towards power. We can't allow that. And we won't allow that.
Days later, thousands of residents gathered to protest the landfill expansion in Kolomna. Dmitry was one of the speakers.
Our political decisions are decided for us in Moscow. The cause of our problems in Kolomna is that they won't listen to us. Imagine that you're sitting at home. The neighbor brings you his trash, and you can't say no.
You have to complain and write that we don't agree with their plans. Here are the email addresses of the city council. This piece of paper has the most important information, who you can write to, all the important email addresses. We're collecting signatures. You can sign it at the supermarket on the corner. Do you know where I mean? Why is Moscow's trash brought to us? In Soviet times, we used to recycle waste paper. We don't want Moscow to send us their trash.
Now it's winter here. What will happen in summer? They bring trash all day. Horrible. We want our children raised in a healthy area. The mistake wasn't made by President Putin. He can't oversee everything. The mistake is the result of local politicians. They should not have voted for so much trash to be brought here. It's dangerous, not only because of the carcinogens, but also because of the explosive gases.
Artists are also getting involved. They address the patriotism of the demonstrators. The city survived the Mongolian invasions, so it surely won't allow itself to be conquered by trash. The rally surprised the authorities. That I, a Western journalist, was interested in this topic made the police nervous. I was stopped when I changed my camera's battery.
I'll ask my supervisor what to do. Were you invited, or did you just come? Sorry. Have a nice day.
The police let me go on my way. Luckily, no trouble from Moscow. After 3 hours, the demonstrators slowly disperse. People listened to the speakers for hours. Many brought their friends, partners, and even their children with them. The organizers meet up afterwards, and they're relieved. There were no arrests. The government stood back.
A lot of people came to the rally. We collected a lot of signatures. On Wednesday or Thursday, we'll turn them over to the Russian president. Everything went very well.
The expansion of the landfill site has caused heated debates on social media. Now, the mayor is willing to speak with Irina and her friends. In their eyes, the rally was a success.